Hi Sanket, welcome to Mommy, and thank
Hi
you so
Prachi,
much for agreeing to talk to me today.
thank you for inviting me. My pleasure.
So, as you know, that we are going to talk a little bit about pre-writing and writing difficulties and all of that. I would like to begin by letting our viewers know a little bit about yourself. Can you talk a little bit about what you do and um, how you see patients with writing difficulties and just introduce them into this topic?
Right. So I am a pediatric physiotherapist and I am a proprietor for Happy Feet Clinic, which is a clinic that caters to differently abled children and their physiotherapy needs. And I've also formed an organization called Access to Hope with a differently abled friend of mine, where we look at education, accessibility, and rehabilitation of differently abled children and adults.
That's interesting. Very nice initiative, and congratulations to you for that.
Thank
My
you.
first question to you would be, as a pediatric physiotherapist, what kind of clients or what kind of cases do you see in your day-to-day setup with respect to writing difficulties?
Right. So in writing difficulties, mainly we see children who have dysgraphia, which we will discuss in a minute. Also, I have a couple of kids coming to the clinic with writer's cramp,
Right.
which is also like a type of focal dystonia where your hand feels cramped up and you can't write for long and you
Right.
have to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
So these are, if I say broadly, these are the two categories.
Right. Thank you so much, Sanket, for telling us about yourself and telling us about these various writing difficulties. Could you elaborate a little about these writing difficulties to our for our viewers?
Right. So if coming to the topic of dysgraphia, there are dysgraphia is a basic problem in handwriting,
Right.
which is like a problem in writing as a whole.
Okay.
So there are three components to dysgraphia. One is the visuospatial component, one is the fine motor aspect, and the third is the language processing. So with visuospatial component, basically children have problems spacing out the words and the letters.
Right.
Sometimes they write way above the line,
Okay.
sometimes they are crossing the line.
Right.
So that is a problem with depth perception. The
Okay.
way I'm seeing myself and you on the screen, I know how far the laptop is from
Right.
my face.
Right.
So there could be some issue there with the vision and the gauging the distance and the depth, which causes those line spacing issues. Secondly, there is sometimes a problem with the fine motor movements. So children find it difficult to grasp a pen or a pencil. The thinner the object, the child finds it more difficult to hold. So that leads to when they are writing, the pen falls off.
Right.
Or if they are coloring, that the sketch pen falls off, the crayon comes off the hand.
Right.
They get fatigued while writing, so they can't write for long or draw patterns for long. So the fatigue is usually felt in the forearm because those are the muscles that are active
That's right.
during the writing. So that makes them disinterested to do a lot of writing. Then the third category is language processing. So language processing in essence is understanding what the teacher is telling the child and then processing it in terms of chunks of information.
Okay.
So there could be a problem with that. So whenever they are about to write something, they are not able to organize their thoughts accordingly to what they want to write.
Okay.
it becomes a bit messy.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the three broad categories of
Right.
dysgraphia.
Right. That was
Coming
very
to
informative.
yes, and the another thing that we discussed about focal dystonia, that is like a motor issue per se.
Okay.
So wherein your hand muscles get cramped up, it's
Mm-hmm.
known only as writer's cramp.
Right.
So that is a complete motor issue. But
Mm-hmm.
most children usually have dysgraphia, but some may have writer's cramp.
Okay. Okay. And approximately at what age can these writing difficulties be identified?
So the age group that we are looking at is above 5 years. So 6 to 8 years
Okay. Okay.
is
So
where
are
we
there
really
any
identify.
Right. So, are there any chances that a parent can find out if the child has any kind of writing difficulty before 5, or it's just too early to find out?
Well, the parents can be little curious about how the child is holding the crayons and the
Mm-hmm.
paintbrush, and
Mm-hmm.
how is the child able to express himself or herself through writing, and how is that coming up on the paper.
Right.
So there could be minor clues here and there.
Right. So that brings me to my next question, which is all about how much the parent has to be aware about the child's development in this regard. So, as we know that holistic treatment is what is the most effective form of treatment, and there's a lot of research being done around this area as well. In terms of
Right.
pediatric physiotherapy and in terms of providing physiotherapy to these kind of difficulties, writing difficulties, what would you say is a holistic approach to treatment?
Right. So if I start off, I would like to find out how attentive and aroused the child is first, before even moving on to the writing part.
Mhm.
Many a times there are issues with the attention span of the child,
Right.
because of which the child gets distracted easily,
Mhm.
and learning a skill like writing, although it seems very easy, it has a very complex representation in the brain. For example, if you take a look at your hand, that's not how the brain sees your hand. The brain sees the hand as a much larger hand, that
Right.
is called homunculus.
Mhm.
Homunculus means how the brain visualizes our body, and it
Mhm.
does not visualize it the way we see ourselves in the mirror. It's different
Right.
because there are different parts of the body which
Mhm.
the brain has to control more than the others.
Right. Right.
So since humans have developed the thumb, opposable thumb, the thumb has
Mhm.
very big representation in the brain.
Right.
Now what happens is different children have different attention spans,
Mhm.
and that needs to be addressed
Mhm.
first before even moving on to the writing skills. Whether the
Mhm.
child is enthusiastic in the first place to write,
Mhm.
to draw some patterns. The
Mhm.
child should have that enthusiasm, and the parents should cultivate that.
Right.
So I keep talking about curiosity.
Mhm.
So first you make the child comfortable,
Mhm.
uh, then you make the child curious,
Mhm.
and then you dive into the creativity of the child.
Right.
So I became creative and made 3 words starting with C. So these 3 words, I think, are they sum it up.
Right.
So then after attention and arousal,
Mhm.
then comes the child's motor aspect.
Mhm.
So the child holding the pen or the pencil, is the child comfortable doing that?
Mhm.
Is the child finding issues with just holding the tool, the writing tool itself?
Right. Okay.
This is even before the child touches the pen on the paper, or the tool, writing tool on paper.
Right.
So
Right.
is the child able to grip it well?
Hmm.
Because that is needed.
Yes.
If the grip is weak, that
Mhm.
gives information that there is some issue with the child in terms of gripping the pen, gripping the
Right.
writing tool. We need not jump to dysgraphia right away. Every child is exploring their body, so this is part of the exploration.
Right.
That this pen I prefer over that sketch pen.
That's right.
This grip I prefer over that pencil.
That's right.
I prefer finger painting rather than a writing tool. That is preference. We
Yes.
should not be in a rush to put the label,
Right.
but we should keep that in mind.
Right.
Then comes the three issues that we discussed. That is later. Once the pen is on the paper, the writing tool is on the paper, then you start seeing these the line spacings that the child is
Right.
implementing,
Right.
the fine motor movements of the child. Does the child require many fingers to hold, or the child is using something called as a tripod grip? So holding a pen is a tripod grip. So is the child using that or all fingers? Is the pen or the writing tool shaky? So these are the fine motor aspects, and of course language processing. So
Right.
how is the child organizing his or her thoughts and putting it down on the paper?
Right, right. So then
So-
you have explained quite beautifully how you are considering almost all aspects, including the behavioral and attention aspects of the child when it
Yes.
comes to writing. Would
Right.
you have anything to say to parents in that regard? In terms of, because I do know and I understand the pressure that our parents go through because of the education system in some countries, wherein writing is included and taught quite early to children who are almost three and a half, and so on and so forth. So what
Right.
attitude must parents have in that regard? Because many parents are quite distraught that their children are not interested or are lazy to write, and then these kind of labels come up. So from the
Right.
pediatric physiotherapist point of view, what would you like to say to them?
So in my experience, frequently I have told parents to be less anxious
Right.
and don't compare your child with other children. These are the frequent mistakes that parents do. They are in a rush to solve each and every minor, what do you say, like a change in the child's behavior or a different pattern, a typical pattern that the child shows.
Right.
They want to change it quickly and
Right.
bring it to the normal that is accepted, everywhere.
Right.
So in that rush, they become too anxious over small matters. It is one thing to know about dysgraphia or know about the writer's cramp or to know about these writing difficulties.
Right.
But that is not the entirety in which you have to
Yes.
think about the child.
Yes.
This dysgraphia is for the parents and for the therapist to communicate. It's just a word.
Yeah.
We know what comes under dysgraphia. It makes our thoughts organized. But it's not a label that you should put on the child and then look at the child only through those lens. So there are many other things that need to be explored in the child, and the child needs to explore by himself or herself.
Right.
So those also need to be looked at. And
Right.
secondly, there is a lot of competition. So this competition it creates a difference between one child and the other.
Yes.
It's like if a child is not bad in writing skills, so he immediately becomes different from a child who has good handwriting, let's say, right away.
Right. He
And
feels
that
judged.
he feels judged. Yes. And so that creates a section, a difference.
Yes.
And I think this is not how competition should be. So
Absolutely.
competition is, I think the best competition is with your own self. are you better than what you were yesterday?
That's right.
Not diving into too much philosophy, but
Yes.
I think these are the things that I do explain to the parents.
That's right.
And another thing about comfort that we discussed, we talked about it. So it's important that the parents are also taking time and a dedicated time for the child. It should not be that the parents have a lot of chores to do, household and their jobs. Of course, we understand that all parents are managing. It's like multitasking once you become a
Yes.
parent.
Yes.
But when you are with the child, you have to be completely present there and not distracted yourself about the 10 things that need to be done after this is done, after the interaction with the child is over. Because the child, there is a study that the children engage in the non-verbal cues more than the verbal cues.
Yes.
So the child can tell, oh, my mama or my papa is fidgety, I think she needs to go somewhere, so let's finish this up in whichever way we can, and then get them free.
Yes.
The child is sensing all of this.
Yes.
So I think that also the parent needs to be aware of their own self.
Yes. Well, that's a really important point you have made there. You're saying that mindful parenting is pretty much the holistic approach to parenting, and especially in these kind of writing difficulties where the child is already experiencing pressure in terms of the school and from teachers and peers and all of that, parents should be somebody they come back home to and they're comfortable with, and share their problems rather than only get worked up because of their presence. So that is a very important point you made. Thank you so much for that. Moving on to my next question, it is leading to from what you have just said. Since you spoke about mindful parenting, can you tell our viewers a little bit about what they could do at home in terms of activities, or design some kind of pre-writing activities for their children that can help them in the future? There are some problems that children experience, especially when they grip the writing tool a little too tight, or when they're writing, the pressure is a bit much, or like you suggested, there is weakness in the hand muscles and so on and so forth. What is it that parents can do to help their children either avoid these problems or face them head on?
Right. So I think if we start off with the fine motor movements, the best way to start is with a modified grip for the writing tool.
Okay.
So it need not be a writing tool also. You can use your fingers for finger painting. Your finger can become a writing tool.
I might just interrupt you there a little bit. In terms of writing tool, I just want to make sure that you mean a writing tool as in a pencil, a pen, a paintbrush, or something like that, right? Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So even before holding those things in the hand and then making the child have one more parameter to control, we can tell the children to experiment with their fingers itself.
Okay.
And then when we move to the writing tools, we have to ensure that the grip is slightly wider.
Right.
The smaller the grip, it requires more musculature, and it requires more precision.
Yes.
And also it creates a lot of fatigue. If I'm holding a bigger grip, less muscle work has to happen in this area.
Right.
So a wider grip can be, you can stack grips onto each other on the pen.
Okay.
Or you can use a wider pen, a thicker pen.
Okay.
Or you can club in 4-5 pencils together with a rubber band.
Right.
So that gives a colorful aspect to the child's writing.
Right.
So these are some modifications to the writing tool. What we discussed about visuospatial awareness. So there are what you can do is you can take a paper and you can fold it in such a way that there are multiple quadrants on the paper.
Okay. Okay.
And those folds you can mark with a marker.
Okay.
Then the child has to write within those folds.
Okay. Okay.
Another option is using a stencil.
Right.
Stencil can be the mixed stencil that you get, which has shapes also, letters also, numbers also. Or it can be a simple stencil where it has only shapes and the child has to just trace it.
Right.
Trace those shapes.
Right.
You can have papers where the lines are, little more prominent and raised from the surface.
Right. Right.
So that gives a tactile input to the child, and it creates a parameter.
Right.
When the child writes something, it creates a parameter, and the child knows it has hit the raised line.
Stop around there. Right.
Yes, to stop. Right. So that is something that you can do to work around the visuospatial aspect. And third is the language processing. So I think the best way to teach the child and make the child process the information faster and better is to communicate through sounds first.
Right.
So you have phonics, something called phonics. So you experiment with that. You can tell the child, you can create flashcards of say cat, bat, and you can tell the child which is the word that is sounding similar to cat, and then the child has to give you the bat flashcard.
Right.
So then slowly you tell the child what is the difference between the two flashcards. Both have at in them, but the k and the b is the different part. So they understand letter discrimination, C and D.
Right.
Those sounds they understood first, then they understand it visually. Then what you can do is you can play with clay. So you can tell the child to make letters with clay. So it's like a good motor planning activity, and it also gives lot of information, sensory as well as motor. How a letter is formed. So like a B would have two those mounds on it.
Right.
And D is like a C reversed, and then you have a line.
That's
so they prepare the letters, with the Play-Doh. And they can start with imitating first, and then they can do it by themselves. Another option is the voice to print. There are softwares where you can speak and it comes in print.
Okay.
So it takes the load off the writing skill.
Right.
And the child is able to communicate better and faster.
Okay.
So that relaxes the child, gets the child organized in here.
Right.
You can also have these organizers like a diary, or where you tell a child a topic. Say if the child wants to talk about say a story, a fairy tale that the child just read, and the child just wants to jot down some points. So or draw some shapes related to that story. So now the story is in here. Now you make the child prepare a draft of that story.
Okay.
You can do it as a parent. You can write it down for the child. That is just to organize. So the child starts off with the prince that lived on the mountain, and then there was a dragon, and then the child rushed towards the end. Then you might have to tell the child, can you recap a bit? I think we lost the middle portion there.
Right.
Organize the child's thoughts first.
Right.
And you help the child to do it, and then you prepare a draft and move to the actual writing or jotting it down.
Right.
So these are some of the things that can be done
at home. So you're basically saying that a parent should create invitations to play, make the activity very interesting, so the child keeps and sustains the interest to do it, and also use all the senses as much as possible, like vision, like touch, even smell at times, because some of these pens and clay that comes, they're all scented in certain fruit flavors and all of that, just to make children totally attract them towards these different things. So that's really what
Totally
you're
agree.
saying then. Okay.
And I wanted to add one more point. We need to see the child's posture when the child is
Right.
doing these activities.
Right.
So if the child is using like something like a small study table
Okay.
or a small stool, so what is the height of that stool? If the child has to stoop too much
Yeah,
to write,
that's
so
right.
that creates excessive shortening over the shoulder muscles and the trunk.
Right.
And if the child maintains that for longer, the child's body gets fatigued and it reflects in the writing,
Right.
or in that writing activity. So I think somewhere at the level of shoulder, or like you have those boards which are like a slant,
Tilted, yes.
not tilted boards. So that makes the child more comfortable visually also, and the postural in the postural sense also.
That's right. Those are really wonderful ideas, Sanket. Thank you so much for all these ideas. They're wonderful. I would like to now come to my next question. So, Sanket, my next question to you is pertaining to the current conditions that we are in. Because of the lockdown, many students have to attend online school sessions on online classes. And parents are having problems with younger children who are not really interested in writing because of that. And they also complain that their handwriting is getting messier and more, not organized. Their handwriting is not good. So what do you have to say in regards to that?
So I think it's a very valid question, especially in these trying times. There are many parents that either they are approaching us on phone or on online consult, saying the child is finding it difficult to learn through this online platform.
Right.
Now we need to adapt. I think humans are very good at adapting. So I think anything that makes the session interesting for the child will ensure good learning. So whenever we talk about learning, there needs to be motivation as a precursor.
Of course, yes.
Otherwise, the learning takes a toll on the learning.
Right.
If you are motivated and enthusiastic about doing something before even you start the activity,
right.
the learning takes place quickly and efficiently.
Right.
So I think for messy handwriting, you can try with different writing tools itself. So you can think of having like crayon. So a crayon is it has a wider grip sometimes, those huge crayons, and you can discriminate between the colors. So you can make it more colorful. As I mentioned earlier, you can create some compartments in the paper and the child draws there.
Right.
You can create words where a letter is missing.
Right.
And child, from the set of letters, the child chooses a letter and then writes it down.
Okay.
So there are many fun ways you can create a story around it. It's a kind of role play.
Right. So you create more invitations to play rather than stress on the fact that the child has to write neatly. Right.
Yes. So that play keeps the child motivated, and you then redirect the play to get what you want. So first you need to know whether the messy handwriting is because of the motor aspect that we discussed, or because of some processing issue.
Absolutely. Right.
So once you balance it out, and it is all trial and error.
Right. Yes.
So I think that's a wonderful idea.
So just make the learning fun, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes. Well, thank you very much. Those are really good pointers for our viewers here. Before we sign off today, I would like to ask you one last question. And that is, what is your message as a pediatric physiotherapist for parents of children who are experiencing writing difficulties, or parents who are stressed about their children's writing?
Right. So I think the most important message that I can give to the parents is complete, unconditional acceptance first of their own child, and be always curious then judgmental
Right.
about your child.
Absolutely. Very, very important. That's right. Thank you so much, Sanket. And it was
Thank you for having me.
it was a pleasure chatting with you. We have really gained a lot from this session. I'd like to say to my viewers that if you ever have any questions regarding your child, or just a question as a parent, you can direct that to either Sanket or myself. You can do that by commenting here below, or you can message us personally, and we will make sure that we get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed watching this video and feel empowered now. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe to watch more interesting videos. We shall wait for your comments. Thank you so much for watching.